You're watching Meet the Movie Press, and coming up, we're going to be talking about the new Spider-Man movie, a potential Baby Driver sequel, and the tracking on Dunkirk. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Meet the Movie Press.
Good morning, Simon.
Good morning, Jeff.
How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I'm okay, thanks. Yeah, how are you?
Good. Did you have? I know you're not. You're not really American. You're not American.
American-ish.
But how was your 4th of July?
It was lovely.
I'm still interested.
I did the traditional thing. On Saturday, I went to Cinespia, which is the movie showing at the Hollywood Forever Cemetery, which is brilliant. So I went there to watch Dirty Dancing, which was fantastic. And they had fireworks, which was cool. No, so
I've heard that you're a Dirty Dancer.
I love Dirty Dancing. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. I know it's dog shit, but I love it. And then on July the 4th, did the traditional American thing of going to see an art house movie in a repertory movie theatre and eating vegan hot dogs. So I went to see Uksha at the New Beverly.
What did you think? Did you like it?
Yeah, it was good. I
liked it too. I didn't love it.
I didn't love it.
I didn't love it.
But I thought it was good. I did enjoy it. Yeah, it's fine. But I mean, I'm sure many Americans would have been disgusted by the fact that I did that.
Going back to Cinespia, I heard that they don't allow alcoholic beverages anymore.
I'm pissed about that.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
What's the point of even going?
Okay, well, I had this conversation this morning with my wife because we went, when you go to this event, if you've never been there, you don't live in LA or you've never been, it's basically where everybody goes to this graveyard, Hollywood Forever, very famous graveyard in LA, and they project movies onto the side of one of the buildings. Everybody's there. Everyone's having a great time. Everybody's there because they love the movie, and it's a really good vibe. You could take your own booze. You could take your own thing. It's like a picnic. Everybody was really well behaved. It was a really, really cool vibe every single time that I've been there. Great.
Me too.
But now some of the officials in LA have decided to, and this came into effect for their July the 4th screening of Jurassic Park, that you now cannot take your own booze in. If you want booze, you have to buy the booze that is available from the people who are running the event. So it's like food and drinks.
I understand that.
Which does make it a lot more expensive. I mean, they do not rip people off, but at these events, when you go in, if you go to a concert or something, the booze is going to be more expensive. So it does kind of change the vibe, and nobody goes there and gets shit-faced, really. It's not that kind of take your own booze. But if you go, you want to have a picnic, you want to have a bottle of wine or a few friends or whatever, it gets very expensive if you have to buy stuff in the venue. But yeah, so now, effective immediately, you can't take your own booze into these screenings.
Now, that's surprising, but that's only really for LA listeners. And anyways, we forgot our intros.
Yes.
Who are you?
I'm Simon Thompson. You can find me on Twitter at ShowbizSimon, on Instagram at ShowbizSimon, and I have a Facebook page. This is Simon Thompson.
And I'm Jeff Sneider, editor-in-chief of the tracking board, tracking-board.com, at the Sneider on all platforms. Okay. Okay, so Cinespia out of the way. I'm glad you had a good 4th of July holiday.
Yeah, I did.
I'm glad that the
Did
fire...
you? I didn't ask you.
Yeah, mine was lovely. I took the metro train to Santa Monica Beach.
Very nice.
It was wonderful. Okay, let's dive in. Let's do this.
Cool.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Little movie out this week.
Kick me off, baby.
Okay, so obviously the reviews have been coming out over the last couple of weeks. I'll put my cell phone away. Getting really good reviews. It's looking like it's going to open well at the box office this weekend. Let's talk about that rather than doing that at the end of the show. So we're kind of looking at Thursday night previews last night. It opened a lot of places.
Kept going up.
Yeah.
It was like 10, then it was 13, now it's 15.
15.4 million in previews,
people did not want to wait.
We're looking at a weekend really currently. People are giving different figures on this, somewhere between 85 and 110 million. Now, the studio, Sony, are they're being a little bit cautious. They're saying around the 80 million.
They always do that.
I think this could very easily open around the 100 mark. I think quite easily. And let's look at that opening, those previews, because it's actually the third biggest Thursday night preview opening of 2017 domestically. So, Spider-Man Homecoming took...
Bigger than Guardians 2?
Well, it's the third highest.
Oh, okay. Sorry,
it took 15.4 million. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is at the top, 17 million. Beauty and the Beast is in second place with 16.3, and just behind that is Spider-Man Homecoming. So it's a pretty good... it's a pretty good start. And if you then compare what we're expecting to take at the weekend here, compare that to the other Spider-Man movies, the original Spider-Man movie, which was now 15 years ago, took 114.8 million. Spider-Man 2, 88 million. Spider-Man 3, 151.1 million. Amazing Spider-Man, 62 million. And Amazing Spider-Man 2, 91 million. So it's way ahead, whichever way you cut it, generally, of sort of the most recent ones. It's, you know, it's looking like it's going to open around Amazing Spider-Man 2, more likely to beat it. It's below the original Spider-Man. It's above Spider-Man 2, most likely, and it's somewhere below Spider-Man 3. So it's not looking too bad. It's kind of there in the middle and could, you know, it could be a lot bigger. But the response from audiences and the response from critics has been really, really strong. And a lot of people, everybody does this. They rank their movies when a new one comes out. And a lot of people who are ranking their Spider-Man, it's coming in either sort of, it's definitely in the top 3 for most people. And that seems to be from people in the industry and audiences
How could it
alike.
not be?
I mean, yeah, it's a really strong movie. It's really, really well done. Yeah, people in the chat are saying it's going to be spoiler-free. Yes, we are doing spoiler-free when we're talking about Spider-Man. So just be careful, because obviously it only came out.
No,
on
thank you
Thursday
for
night.
telling me that.
That's okay. But yeah, so this will be spoiler-free. So we can do spoiler stuff next week, because then people will have potentially, you know, most likely have seen it.
If you haven't seen Spider-Man by next week,
Yeah,
stop watching this show.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the hell you're doing here if you haven't seen it this weekend. But yeah, so I mean, I think it stands a very good chance of opening around that 100 million quite easily.
I think it's going to hit 100. I just think that there's a real appetite for this movie, for good movies.
Yeah.
You know, we had Transformers and like The House open recently.
Yeah.
People want to see a good movie. So you had said before the show that John Watts not confirmed for the sequel yet. Same deal as
Apparently.
Patty Jenkins, right?
Yeah, apparently not confirmed for the Spider-Man Homecoming
But
sequel.
probably coming back, right?
I would think it would be.
Yeah.
I think obviously with Sony, I think they've been burnt a couple of times with things like this, and obviously Amazing Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2 didn't fare particularly well. They had the same director for both of those movies, Mark Webb. And I think they were probably, you know, but everybody was being a little bit, well, let's see how this goes. Let's see how it sits. I would be very surprised if John Watts doesn't come back, because he's done a superb job with this movie in pretty much every single area. Everybody who's, whether you're a diehard Spidey fan or whether you're quite new to the franchise, whether you're disenfranchised by the franchise, people are really getting on board with this. I don't know if that's even a real thing, but it's but yeah. So I think it would be a real shame, and I think Sony would be making a mistake if they didn't get John Watts to come back. And Tom Holland as Spider-Man, he's got that role for as long as he wants it.
And he wants John Watts back, right?
He does. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's basically a given John Watts is going to be coming back. He did do a really good job, especially with the high school scenes.
Yeah.
Just in terms of taking this whole movie and story in another direction, putting a fresh spin on it. He'd also never worked, you know, on a big budget, effects-driven movie like this before, and now he has that under his belt. So, you know, the action will probably only improve the next time around. And there, you know, there's not a ton of action in Spider-Man: Homecoming. There's like 3 big set pieces, I would say, that the movie's sort of built around, which is, you know, maybe why the budget is a little bit lower than past installments.
Which I think is really interesting, because a lot of the other Spider-Man movies, even Amazing Spider-Man and Amazing Spider-Man 2, which I was not a fan of at all, they excelled in the action sequences, and I found some of the human interaction stuff occasionally lacked character, lacked impact, and sometimes felt dry and quite dull. This seems to be the other way round, where even though the action sequences still pack a punch, I mean, they're spectacularly directed. For a guy that doesn't come from an action background, he's nailed this. But also then the human interaction, the relationship stuff, it doesn't flag. The performances, they gel really nicely. The characters seem to work really nicely. It's a very well-balanced meal of a movie, to be honest with you.
I love the man in the chair, Jacob Batalon, as Ned.
Can I also say that there's one thing that did annoy me about this movie, and I was talking to someone about this on Twitter last night. This is not a spoiler, but it has been featured in promos. I won't go too deep into it. There is a scene where there's a homage to a classic 80s movie in one scene, where Peter Parker is escaping the Vulture. Okay. And at one point, there is a scene from this movie on a television. Okay. And there's a track that's playing, which is from the soundtrack of that movie, but they replicate a scene from that classic 80s movie. And the track that's playing is not the track that was playing in the original movie, but it is in that original movie. That kind of annoyed me. If they'd have just used the
Well,
same...
I don't even know what the fuck we're talking about right now. You can say it.
It's Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's...
But the track that they use from Ferris Bueller's Day Off is not... And when they kind of replicate that scene, they don't use the track that they used in the movie. And I'm kind of like, you've taken that homage like 2/3 of the way. Would have been perfect if you used the same track.
I think it would have been a little bit too much if they had used that same track.
I don't know. I probably would have peed a little. So that's partly because of my age.
I did like that homage, and I did pick up on that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it looks like this Spider-Man movie is going to be a winner for Sony.
Yeah,
they
definitely.
needed it.
Yes, they did.
Although they just had a pretty nice hit over the weekend with Baby Driver overperforming.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright. This is probably the biggest hit of his career, right?
It is.
And
It
well
is, yeah.
deserved. Baby Driver was good. Again, I didn't love it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a great movie. But it was a lot of fun, and it's like kind of the perfect summer movie. So now there's talk that that Sony has approached Edgar about a sequel.
Yeah, and I mean, as much as I did really enjoy Baby Driver, I didn't kind of, as I said last week, I didn't lose my shit over it, as much as some other people did. But he did a superb job, and the cast is exemplary. Even the sort of the lower players on sort of the shelf, really, and the smaller parts. But it's a film that I would watch multiple times, and I will do. It's not a film that I think I want to see the story taken somewhere else. Because I think we know...
It's a pretty good self-contained
we
story.
know about Baby. We know his story. We know why he was doing it. And I think then if you change it, it's a different story. It's a different movie. I just don't think it's necessary. I did a little poll on Twitter. It didn't get a huge response, but it got a sizable, kind of a lot of people had a very clear feeling about it. And I asked, would you like a sequel, or do you want it left alone as a standalone piece? 100%. Well, I love the movie. Leave it as a standalone.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't see Edgar doing it. I think Edgar has a whole bunch of original movies, things like Grasshopper Jungle, that he is looking to get off the ground.
Such a creative
I think
guy.
if a sequel did happen for this movie, it wouldn't be next for Edgar. I think he would do another movie and then maybe come back to Baby Driver. That's all speculation on my part.
Yeah.
I just think he's got a whole bunch of projects that have been waiting for him to become available, and to do a sequel to this immediately would kind of leave all of those hanging.
I think also the fact that this is a movie that Edgar Wright worked on for 20 plus years. He had the original idea. He's honed it. He shaped it. It's moved location. It's had different people attached to it or who he'd like in the role. And it's kind of settled. I think then to try and do a sequel to that film that you've had 20 years in the making with a 2-year window, you can't replicate what went into that first film.
Right.
It's a different form. And, you can't bottle lightning. It's very rare that you can replicate that success. We've seen with Edgar's other movies. I mean, the Cornetto trilogy.
Right.
Shaun of the Dead is considerably better than... I mean, Hot Fuzz is superb, but it's considerably better than Hot Fuzz, which is considerably better than World's End.
So we do not have the same rankings on Edgar Wright's movies.
But, it's kind of like, I think he should do the thing that he's done. I love Scott Pilgrim. Great, works really well as its own. I think Baby Driver is another example of a film that's in his oeuvre that should just be left as a standalone piece.
And
so what's
judging from his past work, it will be left alone as a standalone piece. How many people said Shaun of the Dead should have a sequel? How many people said Hot Fuzz should have a sequel? Yeah, none of them have sequels, and I'd be surprised if this one gets one too.
I think also if you change how much, I mean, obviously, Baby Driver had a decent budget, but I think then if you're a studio and you want to say start throwing more money at it, you change what that film is. You change the very being of that film, and I think it's right. So what's your Edgar Wright movie rankings then? I'm gonna go.
I'm not a huge Shaun of the Dead guy. Yeah, I think Hot Fuzz might be my favorite out of all of them. Well. Then Baby Driver. Then, oh man, I really liked World's End. I think Shaun of the Dead might be at the bottom. I mean, well, maybe Scott Pilgrim's at the bottom. I don't know. Shaun of the Dead might be at the bottom. I think that movie's overrated. Yeah, that's right. You heard me. It's a controversial opinion.
Take
over
back
here.
What you said about. No, okay.
I like Hot Fuzz. That's my jam.
Hot Fuzz is a great movie.
Okay.
Okay, so we've looked at that.
Matt Reeves.
Yeah, let's talk about Matt Reeves. Let's do that.
Go for it.
Okay, so Matt Reeves, you will know him from those Ape movies. I've got something else apey to talk about later. He's basically, obviously we know he's taking over the Batman directing duties from Ben Affleck. Came out this week that he is apparently he's got an idea for the Batman to be part of a trilogy. So a trilogy.
Oh, of course.
He's pulling a Nolan.
Amazing.
He's pulling a Nolan.
Batman trilogy.
I mean, obviously it's been done before. I think that could be a really nice frame to hang the rest of the DC universe off of. If you've got a strong trilogy at its heart, if you do a Nolan.
The problem is, I mean, doesn't the DC universe have a plan? A Batman trilogy is not part of the plan, is it?
It's part of Matt Reeves' plan.
But Matt Reeves is you're working within the DCU now.
But also, he's Matt Reeves. I mean, you know, he's got a golden ticket.
I mean,
right
does
now.
Affleck? Wasn't Affleck already trying to squirrel out of the cowl? Like now he's going to do 3 solo movies, plus God knows how many appearances they want him in the other films. I don't know about that. We'll see. Ben Affleck, also a busy guy. I don't think he wants to spend the next decade playing Batman.
I agree with that.
Every
but
year,
also,
like
Ben Affleck
Tony
has
Stark
spent his
and Iron
entire
Man.
career trying to play Batman. So I totally get your point by the fact that he probably will want to try and escape the cowl. But he spent a lot of his career trying to get in that damn
Yeah,
thing.
but I'll tell you right now, Ben Affleck is not Robert Downey Jr.
No, he's not.
He has a lot more going on.
Yes, he is.
So I don't see it unless Matt Reeves knocks it out of the park.
See, what's to say that if...
Honestly, you never know. The DCU throws so many curveballs at us because they're just making shit up as they go along.
Which is
That's
why
how I
perhaps
feel.
they need a Batman trilogy. What's to say they can't film them back to back?
But you're saying that, like, you know, they could have this trilogy to sort of hang like this skeleton on, right?
Yeah.
Like to sort of serve as like the framework. But I feel like all that stuff is already in motion with you know, Justice League and all this other stuff. So I don't know. I'd be surprised.
I agree with you on that, but I think there's also a lot of stuff that's currently up in the air.
Indeed, it is.
And I think if you want to tie it in, I mean, you and I know about a couple of, you know, at least one project that is being talked about currently to do with some major DC characters. That this could be a part of that.
I don't know.
Which you can hang it.
I again don't know what you're talking about. Give me the. Type it down.
I'll write it down.
G-chat me. It's like,
I'm not gonna,
what movie do you and I know about that others don't? Anyways,
that one. I don't want to say it on air because we're not supposed to talk about it.
Oh,
I
did mention that at the end of a show. I don't know how real that is. It's just something I heard that they were trying to get a writer for. Anyways,
now everybody wants to know what I wrote on the piece of paper.
I know.
I
Rosebud on it.
I just drew a picture of a cock. That's all I did.
It was just a
there's
big
no
dick.
writing there. I can't write.
Staying with Warner Brothers.
Let's do that.
They are preparing to release Christopher Nolan's Dunkirk.
They are, yeah.
Variety had a report this week that the film is only tracking, and the headline said 40 million, but the story said 30 to 40 million. That is not good.
No.
That is not good. That's an big, expensive movie. Now, obviously, you know, just like every other movie these days, the bulk of this of the box office will come from overseas, and this is a European sort of film. It's a European story, so I expect it to play pretty well over there. But 30 to 40 stateside,
not good. I mean,
I'm surprised for a Nolan movie.
That's the lowest since The Prestige. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I've seen, I mean, in and around LA, I've seen a lot of posters and bus sides.
The outdoor's been great. Good
It's
advertising campaign.
But, you know, on the grounds, a lot of people are not, there's not the buzz.
Teens aren't,
You know?
don't want to go see
They
a war movie. Now, Justin Kroll at Variety pointed out that this movie could have major legs. I mean, besides Atomic Blonde, which comes the week after, there's not a lot happening the rest of the summer. So this should play pretty well through August and even through Labor Day, like, you know, until the Prestige films start coming out. But yeah, this is not like a date movie that 16-year-olds are going to. Even, I mean, unless I'm underestimating the Harry Styles contingent, because you could get a bunch of Harry Styles fans who sign up for repeat business and they just keep going back, all these girls.
I was literally thinking about, I mean, someone just said, you know, talking about the Harry Styles in the chat. I think there will be a lot of people that will go and see the film because Harry Styles is in it. And I mean this in no way disrespectfully to Chris Nolan. I don't think they'll like the movie. I think they'll be bored off their tits.
You think it's going to be boring?
No, but I think a lot of the people who are going to see One Direction in a movie are not going there because they want to see a World War II movie. They're going there to see Harry Styles, and I think they just won't be into the movie. I think they'll find it, it won't.
Well, I'm curious to see how much Harry Styles is in the movie. That's for sure.
I haven't seen it
but
yet.
It's not like they're expecting him to sing a song in the middle of the movie.
But my point is the fact that there will be teenage girls who will be going to this. They won't be going to see Dunkirk because it's a brilliant piece of cinema or because it's about World War II. I think if they had an empty bag of bucks, they couldn't give less of them. But
if Harry does a good job in it, they're going to walk away and say that was a good movie.
They are, but because of Harry Styles, not because of the fact they like the movie. I think it'll play. I think it'll play to the audience that it is aimed at, which I think are fans of cinema, fans of Chris Nolan, fans of this kind of movie, and I think there is a sizable audience for that. There's not that buzz outside of that right now.
Yeah,
I think the problem is going to be getting people outside of that, large circle to hand over their money. I think what we are going to see around that, you quite rightly mentioned that the gap in the schedule. I think a lot of people are going to use that time perhaps to go and see Dunkirk. I think 40 is disappointingly low. I'd like to see it, take obviously more than that, but I don't think it's going to take much more. But I think a lot of people will go back and pick up on movies that they haven't seen. So if they haven't seen Baby Driver, they'll go and see Baby Driver, or they'll go and see Wonder Woman, or they'll go and see Despicable Me 3, or Cars 3. Perhaps things that they've... I mean, I'm not saying that's the Dunkirk audience, but if you're going in a group to catch up on things that you haven't seen over the past couple of months, I think there'll be a lot of pickup for those films too, which I think will probably be as much of a threat to Dunkirk as things like Atomic Blonde.
I just think that a few months ago, when all this was still, there wasn't even a trailer, there was one trailer only. Yeah. We were looking at Dunkirk between 50 and 60 million, and thinking that it would be Valerian that would come in on the lower side. I wonder if Valerian's going to gain some ground. The reviews on that, the early word has been super strong.
Yeah.
There hasn't really been any early word on Dunkirk, so
I know there was a screening last night in LA.
Okay, I expect screening invites to go out soon. I'm not high on Warner Brothers' list, so excuse me.
Also, there's a junket with Chris this weekend in LA.
Oh well, that makes sense.
That's why
I love how the studios cater to the junket press. It's amazing to me. They love everything. I mean, I guess that's why they cater to them, but oh god.
I'm going to go slightly while we're talking about it, and obviously this is in direct relation to this kind of thing, the junket press. This is something I'm going slightly off the reservation on because it's not a topic that I mentioned to you earlier. One thing that's tending to annoy me at the moment, we talk about film Twitter, is there's a number, and this was the same in the US as it is in the UK and all around the world. There's a small number of people who seem to love every single movie.
Yes.
Every single movie.
Because they're dealing with the talent on the movie.
Yeah. But the thing is, you're not doing your job. If you are a journalist or a critic and you love every single movie, nobody loves every single movie. You are not doing your job.
It's either that or you shouldn't have the job in the first place.
But it's also, you're doing a disservice. I mean, I see some of the same names, popping up on posters, and everything is the film of the year or the something of the other. And this is the same in the UK and it's the same here. I think it's getting worse, though. There are people who go, and it's literally every time they see a movie, it's like they have an orgasm. And it's like, you cannot like every movie. Some of the greatest directors of all time sometimes make shitty movies. And you know what? When they make a shitty movie, they know it. And if you go into that room and you tell them it's the best movie that you've seen, their greatest movie, they know you're full of shit. You're not doing yourself any favors.
You're right.
Be honest.
The hyperbole is out of hand. Even on something like Baby Driver, where, all the posters say, totally fucking awesome. You know what? It's not. But it's not fucking awesome.
There are movies that I really like that you think are shit. There are movies that you think are shit that I... Yeah. It's you can't love every movie. Not every movie is a fantastic movie. Some movies are dog shit.
Oh, God, I just wish people in our profession had better taste. Taste is everything in this job. It's not about... To me, I honestly don't care how well you write the review. I just want you to steer me towards good things. But
there just seems to be...
People go overboard these days.
I mean, I really enjoyed House. I loved House. I gave it a good review on IGN. I know a lot of people thought it was absolutely terrible. Personally...
I laughed at the House. It did its job.
Yeah. Absolutely. I know a lot of people didn't like it. That's absolutely fine. We don't all have to like the same thing. But also, you don't have to love every movie.
I saw this movie last night, Simon.
Okay.
Holy shit.
Was it Paul Blart 3 Mall Cop?
No, they haven't made that. It was a
what a shame.
It was a ghost story.
Oh, yes. You bought a ticket for this.
I bought a ticket. I was
Right.
not invited to anything, and frankly, I completely understand why. I'm sure A24 knows my taste by it now and probably figured that I would hate it, and they weren't that far off. I'm not a huge David Lowery guy. I
Okay.
did not care for Ain't Them Body Saints. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Did you like it?
No.
It was a great. I remember taking a great nap during that one. And,
I did
I
not
did
like that
love
at
Pete's
all.
Dragon. I
Again,
didn't
that-
see it in the theaters.
I love Pete's Dragon.
It was fantastic.
I really enjoyed that.
So David really redeemed himself in my eyes. I was always kind of wary of Ghost Story. I kind of had an idea that it would be something I wouldn't like. Sure enough, it was that. It was just so slow. I mean, there is a scene where we watch Rooney Mara eat a pie for what feels like an eternity. An entire pie. How long do you think it takes a small girl like that to eat a pie? 10 minutes?
I'm going to say, yeah.
I mean, that's
3
how
minutes.
long it feels. So yeah, I did not care for A Ghost Story, and yet everybody loved it.
Yeah.
Everybody hails it as this masterpiece, and I'm just like, what movie are you guys watching? Are we seeing the same thing? So
It's like, I mean, but this is a prime example of some directors that sometimes you love their work and sometimes you don't. You know, and it's like, that's a really, you know, I mean,
I think just studios have gotten really good at like targeting like which critics they think are going to fall for a little pretentious hunk of shit like that, and most of them did. And they all, you know, A24 sends out the fucking bed sheets, and everyone's running around their offices like ghosts. And I mean, stop! Don't see it. Save your fucking money. It's just like Swiss Army Man and It Comes at Night and a whole bunch of shitty A24 movies. It's like I love that company and what they do for cinema.
Yeah.
And every now and then they have a great film.
yes, they do.
But Jesus Christ, we have different taste. Me and the acquisition executives at that company.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think this is. But I mean, then again, there are movies that are terrible that people flock to see. I mean, the Transformers season. They're not tending to do it as much with this one. But I mean, how many times have critics said these are terrible films?
Most critics.
But audiences flock to see them. $1 billion on a regular basis.
Exactly.
You know, but there you go. It's just something that really kind of. I just in the last couple of weeks, I've seen a lot of people doing this on Twitter, and it's usually people are saying name names. I'm not going to name names. People know exactly who they are. But it's just
Yeah,
it just
we don't need to
becomes-
call anybody
no,
out on this show.
It just becomes increasingly prevalent, and you're not doing your job.
Let's talk about some reboots. I'm curious
Let's
if you
talk
think
about
people
it.
are going to see these. There's a Hellboy reboot.
Yes.
Now it was Splash Report, right?
Splash
Kelvin?
Report, quite a new site actually, and they're doing some really, really good
Yeah,
stuff.
they've broken some stuff.
They're
Kelvin,
breaking a couple of good
Kelvin has
stories.
always scooped news over at Latino Review. This is his new publication, so check it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, he said that the Hellboy, that Lionsgate is in final negotiations to pick up the Hellboy reboot, which was confirmed by the trades. I mean, I don't know where else anybody thought this was going to land. It screamed Lionsgate from the very start.
Sony
It's either
weren't gonna take it
Lionsgate
back.
or Millennium, and Millennium
Yeah.
is like falling apart right now.
Yeah. And Lions. I mean, I know. I've known that Lionsgate have been. You know, they ever since the idea that for a little while they've been talking about this. They were a handful of companies that were looking at doing it. Lionsgate do need. They've had a couple of franchises that have either finished or kind of dissolved.
Right.
And they need this. I mean, I think the only other place that this potentially could have landed was somewhere like a Fox, but Fox don't need it. They've got X-Men, they've got Apes, they've got other things. So that wouldn't have really fitted. That would have been like a funny uncle.
This is like a B-list comic book
Yeah,
movie.
but I think Lionsgate is a great home for that. I could have seen someone like an A24 or a STX getting
I
on
could see
board
a
with it. STX would have been a
yes.
good call.
Yeah.
But Lionsgate, to me, this makes sense. I kind of knew they were looking at it.
So I hit Twitter with a
confirmed.
tweet that was like, I don't know if I really want to write this because, like I said, if it's good, if they get a good cast, a good trailer, I'll eat my words. But I'm out. I don't care. I told my staff, don't even write the Lionsgate news. I don't care about this Hellboy movie whatsoever. Do you?
Yeah, I do actually. I mean, is it top of my list of things to see? No, it's not. I'm very interested to see what they're doing with it. David seems very, very enthused with it. David Harbour. I like Neil Marshall, again, a director who's done some not great movies, but he's done some really good movies too. And I enjoyed the original Hellboy movies. You know, I did. I mean, they certainly weren't exactly the biggest movies, and they weren't the greatest movies, but I had fun with them.
I did not enjoy them. I don't think that they're bad, but I didn't think that they're very good.
No, I enjoyed them.
And to me, Ron Perlman, even though I have no agency over the care, I don't fucking care. Ron Perlman kind of is Hellboy to me, and I don't know that I necessarily want to see one of these movies from someone else's imagination besides Guillermo's, even if he didn't knock either movie out of the park. I just like, I'm wrapped up in enough stuff. You got to make cuts. King Arthur, that's a cut. I'm not seeing King Arthur. Like that's just something.
Because you're saving yourself for all the Robin Hood movies.
You have to make room for other things, and that is definitely a movie where it's not even on my radar. I don't care.
No, I'm interested to see. I mean, I don't think we're going to see anything really for for 18 months. So I think we're going to look at 20.
Is it going to be R-rated?
Yeah, that's what they're aiming for.
Okay, I mean,
so I think it's going to be fun.
Like I said,
I
guess that's a step in the right direction. They got to do something different. And then there was more reboot news.
Yeah.
Now this was a little bit more exciting.
Okay.
Not necessarily the property, but the filmmaker.
Okay.
Last night, Deadline reported that the Grudge reboot is in the works over at Sam Raimi's Ghost House,
which we've known for a little while.
Yes, we knew that a reboot was in the works, but that Nicholas. I'm not going to know if I pronounce this right. Nicholas Pesky or
I believe it's Pesky.
Okay. He is
might be wrong.
He is going to be rewriting the script and directing. This was something that I called Nick's reps on, all through June.
Yeah.
Reached out to them multiple times. No one ever hit me back. And sure enough, it turns out that Ghost House was working with Deadline on an announcement. It's a little bit disappointing because I think this is a great hire.
Yeah.
Did you see The Eyes of My Mother?
Yes, I did.
It was fantastic.
It's a
what did you think?
great movie.
Yeah. A great little black and white, low budget indie movie. So this is sort of like the
Which
horror
is a great example of a
equivalent.
movie that can be quite slow, but it doesn't have to be dull.
Right. Yeah, sure, I'll give you that. Dude, that movie just crawled under my skin and haunted me for weeks.
Yeah.
So this is sort of the horror equivalent of like Gareth Edwards doing Monsters and then getting Kong, or Colin Trevorrow doing Safety Not Guaranteed and getting Jurassic World. This is that kind of big step from a no budget movie to now we have some branded IP. Mm-hmm. Do I think that do we need a Grudge reboot? No,
we do not.
Do I think that J horror is on the rise again?
No, I do not.
Definitely not. I mean, the Rings reboot came like a fart in the wind, right?
That was terrible.
A fart in a lift.
Terrible.
Whatever your fucking phrase is.
Like a fart in a lift. Everybody knows it's there, but nobody wants to run up to it.
Listen, I am a fucking horror addict, and I didn't go see Rings, and I haven't even rented Rings yet. So if you're losing out on me, the core horror fan, you have fucked up and not done it right. I mean, but that was Rings. That's one thing. The Grudge movies I never liked as much as the Ring movies. No. The Grudge 2 actually was one of the biggest pieces of shits I've ever seen.
Yes, it was.
But
did you see any of the straight to
no, there were more.
Ones?
Oh, Jesus Christ! But Nicholas is a really good filmmaker. So if they are going to do this, I think it is in pretty good hands.
Yeah, I know. I agree. So, I mean, I think you can do. There is the chance to. Just because a franchise is done badly, it doesn't mean that it can't be done better. I mean, a really good example of that is what we're seeing from what I've heard. I haven't seen it yet. Unfortunately, I really, really do. Is the Annabelle movie, the sequel that's being done. First Annabelle film was really, really bad. Apparently, this one is superb. So I think if you want to go back, well, apparently, yeah, it's really, really good. And I think if you want to go back, you can. If you've got the right people in place, you can make it successful. And I think it's kind of, if you're going to do this, I think it's kind of the right time. I think where Rings fell, aside from the fact that it wasn't particularly good.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I interviewed the director because I got the scoop on the Crow.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I mean, I think if it's done correctly and you go balls to the wall and you may get an R-rated, yeah, I think you can do it. If you're going to make The Grudge and you're going to do a PG-13, don't bother. But I think the people who grew up with The Grudge, the Americanized version of The Grudge rather than the original films, I think there is an audience to there, but you do have to deliver something that will make them poo their pants.
Yeah.
That's the only way to do it. Do it. If you're not going to do that, don't do it.
Speaking of some old movies.
Yes.
A whole bunch of things. Well, we have a T2 re-release coming out.
We do.
When is that coming out? August or September?
Middle of August. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know.
James Cameron says it looks really good.
I saw this recently on the big screen. I don't know that I necessarily need to see it again, but T2 is one of the all-time great action movies. I mean, it's a masterpiece.
Yeah, it
T2's
is
a masterpiece. So that'll look better than ever up on the big screen, and potentially, I mean, not potentially, confirmed, we're also going to get a Close Encounters re-release on September 1st.
Which is great. I mean, I haven't seen that film on the big screen in a long, long time. I think I saw it years ago. I think it was at the Prince Charles in London. Close Encounters remains just a superb
That's a movie theater, the Prince Charles?
The Prince Charles, yeah. It basically does kind of what the New Beverly does in LA, and it kind of shows reruns of
Prince Charles a big movie fan?
No, they just called it the Prince Charles.
Okay.
It's different to a Prince Albert. But yeah, so basically they're re-releasing Close Encounters. When there was the story kind of came out of the fact there was like a little teaser trailer that was released online this week, and it was like, oh my god, is the Close Encounter sequel? Have they done like they did with Cloverfield? Oh my god, is it going to be a sequel? It's not. It's the re-release.
Right.
But it did get people talking about the fact that if they did do a Close Encounter sequel, Hollywood don't. What, would you like it, or what would you want to see? And the people came up with the idea of Richard Dreyfuss's character coming back and kind of seeing, obviously he comes back from space.
He'll bring the kids in.
Yeah. I mean, he probably wouldn't be allowed back into the country now, to be honest with you, what with the current political climate. But
I
build a wall in space.
I always thought Close Encounters was overrated too. I watched it a few years ago.
I love that film.
I'm not that interested in a re-release, although I think it's a smart business move.
Yeah.
That Labor Day weekend is always slow. Nobody really wants to see any of the movies. Why not put out this big fan favorite classic film in honor of an anniversary? The anniversary is technically in November, but they wanted to do it in September because they saw an opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think it could actually do pretty well. I think there's a whole generation that hasn't seen that movie, and I would say recommend. It's not a movie I would say don't see it. I absolutely recommend it. I just I don't think it's a classic in my mind, but
yeah. See, I would disagree with you on that. I think
most people would. I'm a weirdo.
It's and it's massively influential. I think as a film,
Yes,
it
I'll give you
did
that.
change the face of sort of sci-fi movies, and it's still either referenced or homaged in some way in so many movies these days. A lot of people try to replicate it, and nobody's really reached that.
More old movies.
Yeah.
Rocky IV.
Yes.
Apparently,
Rocky IV,
Stallone is
Creed
hinting.
2.
Stallone is hinting at the return of Ivan Drago in Creed 2.
Yeah. Come on.
I mean, Dolph is in Aquaman, right?
He is. I don't think it's the biggest part. It's a sizable role, but it's not.
But hey, it gets him back in.
Come on, he's on a
in
roll.
The conversation.
What with Aquaman and Kindergarten Cop 2? Yeah. No, I mean, I love Dolph Lundgren. I genuinely do. He makes some really, really terrible straight to DVD movies, straight to streaming even, movies these days. But when he really gets to do, classic Dolph, like in things like Expendables, which I love, I think is great. I would love to see Sly Stallone, Dolph Lundgren, and everybody else from the Creed movie, and then do Creed 2 and do something with this. What I don't really want to see is Ivan Drago's son taking on.
Yeah, no, that would be bad.
That's kind of Karate Kid 3 kind of.
The Drago thing makes sense because I'm telling you, you're going to start seeing Russia will be the new villain in Hollywood for the next few years.
Russia and Korea, I think, are going to make big comebacks.
Sure,
If we have America left.
Right.
And they haven't both destroyed us.
So I think you'll see a lot of movies play up those Cold War fears, that kind of stuff. And it makes sense that Drago would return.
Going back to the New Beverly, I've mentioned that place so many times today. If you haven't been, you really should go. They're not paying me to say that, by the way. They did a double bill on July 4th of Red Dawn and Firefox. Classic.
And you went
80s.
to that? Did you go?
I sadly didn't.
I was like, pass. Who cares?
Come on, the original
Jesus
Red Dawn
Christ.
is genius, and Firefox is great.
Oh my God,
It's great.
I'm so amazed at what.
But it was a great little Cold War double bill.
What about Men in Black?
What about Men in Black? Hey, is that 20 years old this week?
Holy shit!
Yeah, I know.
We are old.
We are old. Yeah, so basically there was a story this week. A lot of people were talking about the anniversary. I did some stuff
So
on
many
it about
people
life.
were talking about it.
Come on, Men in Black's a good movie. It's fun.
Who is talking about the 20th anniversary of Men in Black? This did not come up in my Twitter feed at all.
Of course it didn't.
We have we're following different things.
Well, the Patriots didn't come up in my Twitter feeds.
That's on you.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, so Steven Spielberg basically apparently wanted Chris O'Donnell to play Agent J in Men in Black, which is obviously the role that went to Will Smith, right?
Yeah. I'm assuming he didn't want him for the Tommy Lee Jones role.
I'm assuming not. Wow, no. Thank God he didn't. I mean, I've got a soft spot for Chris O'Donnell. I do. I would like.
He just opened a pizza place. I hear it is terrific.
Has he?
I actually really.
Has he opened it, or is he working in one?
I think he invested in it. Is he working in one? You're terrible.
So
mean.
Look, I'm not being horrible to Chris O'Donnell. That guy has got a major network TV show. I don't. So jokes on me. Chris O'Donnell's doing fine for himself. That was just a cruel joke at him with the pizza
I
parlor.
cannot picture him in Men in Black.
But
at
could
all.
you picture Chris O'Donnell in kind of doing what many other people have done and doing something really dark in an indie movie, like being a rapist or a pedophile or a serial killer or something like that?
The answer is no.
Really?
No.
Come on.
If I was saw indie film news that had Chris O'Donnell in it, I would be like, this movie is going to suck.
I would love to see that. I would like to see Hollywood do something with Chris O'Donnell again.
I don't think that's happening on the film side. No. Nope. But Men in Black, I'll tell you this much. I've heard some rumblings.
Mm-hmm.
Again, not confirmed. I haven't even looked into this shit. But remember that 21 Jump Street Men in Black crossover?
Yes.
Doesn't seem like there's been a lot of movement on that, right?
No.
But what do you do? I mean, you can still make Jump Street movies, right? Mm-hmm. But what about Men in Black? You got to that's a huge piece of IP, and you got to bring that back somehow, right?
Yeah.
So if you're not doing a 21 Jump Street Men in Black crossover, what are you doing? You are
Working
rebooting it. Rebooting it. Yeah. I think that Sony is potentially looking for a writer to reboot Men in Black straight. No Jump Street shenanigans with it, just another Men in Black. Give me 2 more guys in the suit.
I heard about another, actually it's an 80s movie. There are a couple of movies. I won't tell you what it is because I'm not allowed to, but it is an 80s movie that was very successful. I'll give you a couple of clues.
Could be women in black, though. I just want to say. Could be women in black.
Well,
but go ahead.
Yeah, but I think Sony...
They may have learned their lesson with
Sony,
Ghostbusters.
I don't think, will be going...
They may have learned their
with a
lesson
female
with
Man in Black.
Ghostbusters. We'll see.
Another 80s movie.
Yep.
Very successful. Spawned a sequel.
Okay.
Directed by a very well-known director. Studio behind it. Currently looking for new ways to bring it back. Either as a television show or as a new movie. They are poised...
What is it?
...to put pen to paper. They just can't come up with the best way to do it. I will not tell you what it is.
Are you fucking kidding me? You
No,
can't do that.
I'm just going to put it out there, but that is not the only...
A studio's looking to reboot a property? Simon, you can't fucking do that on the
Try
show.
and guess what it is.
I'm not... You didn't
Try and
even
guess
give me
what it
enough
is.
clues to guess. You just said something super vague.
Put it together. A movie, 80s, had a sequel, directed by a very well-known director. 80s property. Sci-fi.
I have no fucking idea what you're talking
well, then
about.
you're-
Back to the Future?
No, it is not. Don't... no, there has been talk
You're
of that.
making
They
me
need
just
to leave Back
guess
to the Future alone.
80s sci-fi movies?
It's not Beverly Hills Cop. It's not Lethal Weapon.
People
are asking me.
Let's see. Guys, Comic-Con.
Yeah.
A lot of Comic-Con announcements this week. I've never been to Comic-Con. Don't care about Comic-Con. Star Wars won't be at Comic-Con.
It will not be at Comic-Con, no.
Why would it be? They have D23 the week, literally
Next
the week
weekend.
before.
Next weekend. There's going to be a lot of Star Wars and a lot of Lucasfilm stuff at D23 this year. How do I know? I'm going to be working it. It makes complete sense. You okay?
I've got hiccups.
Oh, okay. I thought you were about to puke.
I've got the hiccups.
Okay. So it's really no surprise. I think most people knew that. Comic-Con this year there's still a lot of film properties that are going to be there, but there's a lot of TV action this year. It's very heavily TV
John,
skewed.
what is this? Meet the TV Press. We are Meet the Movie
just-
Press. There's 3 movie studios going to Comic-Con. It is clearly not a big event. The studios
this
just
year.
don't. I mean, more studios show up, at CinemaCon to show cool shit.
Yeah. But yeah, so there's going to be a lot of this stuff at D23. So if you're looking for Star Wars news,
Head to Anaheim, not San Diego.
yeah, and there's going to be some Marvel stuff as well.
The only thing I'm interested in at Comic-Con is this Netflix secret screening,
Yes.
which I speculate will be Death Note,
Interesting.
which I think looks awesome. I'm super pumped for Death Note. And so if anything could get me down there, it would be a secret screening of that. But
You see,
Yeah.
I think it's either going to be that or it's going to be the Will Smith movie.
there's no way that they're showing Bright this early before December. No way.
He's going to be at Comic-Con.
Yeah, sure. I'm sure they'll show some cool shit, but they're not going to show that movie in its entirety 6 months early. There's going to be an Assassin's Creed animated series.
Way! Couldn't care less.
Yeah. That's coming on the heels of the Castlevania series. I'm just saying, all these video game properties, you may start to see them now go that animated series route on Netflix because the live action shit just doesn't seem to be working. Felicity Jones signed on to a Swan Lake movie. Don't care about Swan Lake either.
No.
Don't know why Luca Guadagnino would want to do that. There were two other things that I wanted to say. Is there anything else on your list that we didn't get to before we the last 5 minutes of the show?
No, there is. Oh yeah, I want to talk very briefly.
It's your last item, so use it well.
Okay, I will. Did you see the trailer for Geostorm this week?
No, I mean I saw the first Geostorm trailer. I got the point.
Oh my god, it looks so incredibly bad, so bad.
Yeah, I mean
I kind of want to see it.
It looks like the Independence Day sequel that we all deserved and never got.
It looks like Independence Day, the sequel, took a dump, and this was it.
The sequel, sequel took a dump.
Yeah.
Oh man, the sequel was a dump.
Awful. It's awful. But I want to see it.
I'm just stunned that they invested that much money into a movie like that and then made the stars Gerard Butler and Jim Sturgis. It was like, what is the point of doing a movie of that scale if you're going to get like D-list movie stars?
It's seriously
D-list.
Sharknado 5 excites me more than Geostorm. Yeah. I will watch both.
There will be some fun memes to come out of
So
Geostorm,
what have you got?
I'm sure. All right, so two things.
Yes.
The last one's really just a quick little internal thing, but Mahershala Ali, True Detective. I broke that shit. Friday before holiday weekend.
Nice
it was
work.
turned into my biggest tweet of all time.
Wow.
Can you believe that? Bigger than the news that Harry Styles was getting a haircut. This makes a ton of sense.
Yes.
To me, it was a perfect storm. I think that's why it did so well. Mahershala Ali, super hot right now. He won an Oscar for Moonlight. He's on the cover of GQ. He's in the music videos for 444, Jay-Z's new album.
Yep.
So he is having a moment. True Detective. Everyone was curious, what is the fate of this show going to be? Is it coming back or not? They've never had an African-American lead. All these things sort of added up to this perfect storm, and that was sort of the big news over the 4th of July holiday. Is there anyone that you would like to see him paired up with? Do you think that they should bring back McConaughey? I mean, could he pair, like...
Josh Brolin.
No, they went to him. He passed, I think. Kroll said something. I don't know. They said something about John Hamm, but I don't know if he mentioned Brolin too. I thought I'd heard Brolin.
There's nothing to say that Brolin perhaps wouldn't revisit now Mahershala is on there. Because those two, I think, would be absolute dynamite. But from seeing John Hamm, I loved him in Mad Men. And, he's done a couple of things I didn't think were particularly good. But seeing him in Baby Driver, pretty good.
John Hamm, I think, would have been really cool in True Detective, but I get that coming off that second season, which was not, I enjoyed it. It's better than 95% of the shit on television.
Tilda Swinton
and Mahershala Ali, holy shit, that would be incredible.
There you go.
I actually really like that.
Thank you.
But I get how John Hamm probably didn't want to take that risk, because if you get stuck with another subpar season of True Detective, that's not good for the career, especially, in the wake of Baby Driver, which gave him another little bump. So, yeah, Tilda Swinton's a good suggestion. I'll be very curious to see who they pair with Mahershala. I think that him coming on to do it does sort of guarantee that there's going to be a third season. HBO definitely cautioned and was like, we haven't greenlit this yet. But to me, it's like one of the crown jewels in their programming. I don't see a future in which this doesn't come back if Nick Pizzolatto
Kevin Costner
has a decent script. He would be really good. I think that'd be super interesting. Someone, pulling like a Travolta in Pulp Fiction, like reinvigorating somebody's career.
Steve Guttenberg.
A little bit. He's already reinvigorated. He's on Ballers.
Yeah, true.
He's on Ballers this season. HBO's already got him. So we're gonna end the show with some sad news.
Yes.
Our executive producer, Maria Menounos, diagnosed with a brain tumor. We wish her a speedy recovery. It sounds like she's going to be okay, thank God.
Yeah.
Her mother also battling the same illness. Man, this scary stuff. My mom's going through a situation right now, but she's a strong lady. Maria's a strong woman, and I think that I think she's going to be okay. And we just wanted to, send our thoughts and prayers.
Yep.
As the show.
Yeah. Very much so.
Because there wouldn't be a show without Maria, without Kevin Undergaro, and
none of this would be happening.
Right. So
this literally wouldn't happen.
We owe them a lot, and we're grateful.
We do.
For them, and wishing the best for their entire family. So that'll do it for this week's Meet the Movie Press. Sound good?
Yeah.
Okay, where can the good folks find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at ShowbizSimon. I also have a Facebook page. This is Simon Thompson. Where can we find you, Jeff?
I'm at the tracking board, tracking-board.com, and at the Sneider on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure to tune in to the Collider Collision today over on Collider Video, where I take on the commissioner, Christian Harloff. It's a really great event that he produced up there. So be sure to tune in. Rate, comment, subscribe, Popcorn Talk Network. Thank you for listening.
Tell
have a great
everybody.
week. Yeah, have a great weekend. And yeah, you guys just met the movie press. Take care.
Producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network. We would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of its owners or principals.